Well, on Tuesday, June 6th, at Shara Zion Bethel congregation, Beit Halochem, Canada, they'll correct the pronunciation. Lisa will correct my pronunciation. Will hold its first in-person gala in 4 years with the Celebration of Life concert, featuring stories of determination and achievement by 5 disabled Israeli vets, accompanied by outstanding performances from talented Israeli artists. And the evening is being dedicated to the late Michael Chamberg, who I knew very well. So joining us right now is Doug Mayoff, who is best friends with Michael Chamberg. Jeffrey Bernstein, well-known volunteer in the community for many causes, who's on the committee for the event. And Lisa Levy, who is the executive director of Beit Halochem Canada. First of all, Lisa, let's start with you. Can you just tell me, did I pronounce it wrong? How do you pronounce it? And tell us about the organization.
Okay, you were pretty good. Beit Halochem Canada, Aid to Disabled Veterans of Israel. So, unfortunately, today in Israel, there are over 50,000 injured veterans who've given their lives, their limbs, their bodies, their souls for the defense and the existence of the state of Israel. We feel that it's our moral obligation to support these heroes in any way that we can. And how we do it is through fantastic rehabilitation centers throughout Israel. We have in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Haifa, Beersheba, Nahariya, and we're building in Ashdod these amazing centers where the veterans and their families can go every day, not only to socialize, not only to get the therapy that they need, but also to participate in many sport rehabilitation programs that will enable them and empower them to become productive members of Israeli society. Our job is that anybody going in to defend Israel, serving the country, needs to know that we are the insurance policy in God forbid that something goes wrong. We are the only organization that takes care of the injured from the time they're injured in the hospital and for the rest of their lives. We also one of the only organizations that does not want any new members. Unfortunately,
Yes.
every week, young, injured veterans are joining our organization, from being rammed by trucks on the borders, being thrown rocks at, injured, and this is what's happening. So we feel that in order for there to be a strong Israel, we need to make sure that people have somewhere to go and someone that'll look after them. And that is what Beit Halochem does.
Okay. Now, Jeff, I know you mostly from the ICRF, which you've been involved in. So what drove you to this organization?
First of all, Doug. Doug asked for support over the last few years, and only happy to support a wonderful Israeli organization, having been president of ICRF, the Israel Cancer Research Fund, for over 10 years. But most importantly, my involvement this year is due to Michael Chamberg, who was a friend of mine as well, and who I helped on his medical situation, because he did die from a throat cancer that Doug and I actually detected during walks during COVID. No one could gather inside, but you could gather outside, and we would walk up north in the country where Michael loved to be and loved spending his time. And that's where we noticed a change in his voice. And that's when my radar went off, having so much experience with cancer and helping triage people in our incredibly complex medical and impossible system here in Quebec. And within days, he was triaged and unfortunately went down a very, very difficult road. He was and still is a true warrior and a hero, much like these veterans from Israel. And it's honestly, it's an honor to be involved with this event, and it's going to be an unbelievable event. can't wait. So that's why I'm here, Mike.
It's a very emotional story. Now, Doug, I knew Michael Chamberg way back when he owned Pro Home at the Coast Loop Shopping Center, and he had that infectious smile, that laugh. No matter how stressful it might have been at Pro Home, he'd turn around. He was so great with the clients. People always remember, seen him in the past. So obviously, you've been friends with him for a long time. This must have hit you very hard. How did you come about twinning him with this organization?
Well, I've known Michael now over 50 years. We are friends from our teenage years. And I was a vendor to Pro Home, and that's where we became exceptionally close. Michael had a very strong feeling for young people and Israeli soldiers, in fact, and we often spoke about that. He also was a participant and a member of Beit Halochem and a contributor to Beit Halochem over the years. Michael, as you say, was the owner of Pro Home. He was. I know you're on town council. He was looked upon as the mayor of Côte-Luc, if not Montreal, because of his celebrity status. He was also a very, very keen swimmer, kayaker, and sailor, and he lived really for those water-based activities. And so it was just so fitting, I felt, when he passed away, that I could somehow tie in the two. Beit Halochem, which looks after not only vets who have been injured, disabled, but also victims of terror. And Michael being a water person, and Beit Halochem having many water-based rehab therapeutic activities, we joined the two, and I'm happy to say within a short while, within about 6 weeks, we raised $250,000, which is earmarked towards water-based rehab therapeutic activities at Beit Halochem. Now, my eyes are a little bit baggy because I've just returned from Israel, where on April 23rd, we had a very emotional, moving dedication ceremony at the largest of the Beit Halochems in Tel Aviv, where we dedicated a plaque on the Wall of Honor in Beit Halochem in Michael's memory, specifying his love for the water and so on, and that the funds were being directed accordingly. So it was quite moving. And as you guys mentioned earlier, on June 6th, we are having a gala here in Montreal that's being dedicated this year to Michael's memory. We are hosting a delegation from Israel, which includes 5 wounded vets who are going to speak of their story, how they were injured, with film clips and so on. And we're expecting hundreds, and we're looking for more than that because the facility can accommodate about 1,000 people. And I hope to see everyone out there because it's a very worthwhile cause. Whether or not you knew Michael, so
well said. So Jeffrey, tell me a little bit about what people can expect that evening.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be a great event. A gala is a gala, but what I think is special is meeting these vets. It's not every day that you get to meet a vet. There's going to be music. There's going to be music performed by very well-known artists from Israel. But I really think that that meeting and hearing the stories of the vets is something. It's an experience that doesn't happen every day. I actually was at a Beit Halochem event with Doug and Rabbi Jacobson some years ago, and it was probably the most moving event I've ever been to. So I would say that it's so important for us to support these wounded vets and to show our love and our compassion for what they've been through. But at the same time, we can be a little bit selfish, and we can come to the event and have an experience that is really not something that you would have every day. And I think it's very impactful because it grounds you, it humbles you, and it makes you realize how lucky we are to be here I'm sitting in Westmount, Doug's in Hampstead, Lisa's in Toronto, you're in Côte Saint Luc. I mean, how lucky we are to be in the province of Quebec, the country of Canada, in quite a quiet society, where on the other side, it's not so quiet these days and hasn't been for a while. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. And Lisa, just to conclude, how do you choose these vets? How do you decide, or how do they decide which vets come to Canada and come to these events?
Well, that's what I always say. I mean, we have 50,000 incredible heroes, each with their own story. It's just, we put a mix together for what we think is going to work. Something very unique this year is we have a young disabled club in all our Beit Halochem centers for the newly injured. And in Tel Aviv, we have an incredible music room, and some of the performers are going to be vets as well. So this is how we choose. And we also like to bring a variety. So it's not going to be, you know, they injured in different aspects. The other thing I wanted to just mention is Beit Halochem takes care of anyone injured in the defense of Israel, regardless of their religion, regardless of their background. So, you know, we take care of many Christians, Jews, Bedouin, Arabs, anyone defending Israel. Once they get injured, unfortunately, Beit Halochem takes care of. But I can promise you, the concert is going to be unbelievable. We're bringing in an incredible, dynamic group of young, motivational, inspirational people whose stories are only going to make us feel great and motivated. Our music is fantastic. We use one of the top directors in Israel who actually volunteers. He's the one who does the big events for Yom HaAtzmaut. He does the big events for Yom HaZikaron at the Knesset. Ronnie Aviram from Noah Productions is renowned. And our show is going to be absolutely spectacular. In fact, I'm offering a full money-back guarantee if anybody doesn't enjoy it.
Wow, that's an offer you can't refuse. Well, I'll give ticket information in the description of the video and the story. I want to wish you good luck with this project, and may Michael Chamberg rest in peace.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Mike.
Great having you.